just to give some background so that anyone who's listening can understand what we're going to talk about and where we're coming from, I just want to read two quotes that I think you will really love. And I think that sums up everything that we're going to be talking about. So I have two quotes here by Graham Cook. I'm just going to throw it out there, and then maybe you can just we can probably use this as a diving board, and then I'm sure you can. This is like fuel for our conversation. You can probably elaborate more. So I'm just
Sweet,
going to
man.
read two quotes from Graham Cook. Here's the first one. He says, "Everyone who is anybody knows that kingdom cannot come through church. Church has to come through kingdom. We are preaching the gospel of the kingdom. We are not anti church. We are not anti church. In fact, we love the church, but we have to get things in the right order. It's the kingdom that is the overlying power over the enemy. And the church is an expression of that kingdom. I'm excited about the passion of God for the church, and I know that the church has to massively, massively change. The only way it's going to change is when the kingdom comes down, because it's the kingdom that will take us outside of our box. It's the kingdom that will take us outside of our network, beyond our designated people group. It's the kingdom that will take us into a place where we are unconfined and unlimited. It's the kingdom that will open all doors and take us higher into a realm of faith and relationship with God that we have ever been. So, yeah, two heavy quotes right there. There's much more. But yeah, bro, your thoughts on that, and yeah, your take on the gospel of the kingdom.
Oh, man.
I, I
I
think
love.
I think for far too long, and I'm including myself there. I think for far too long I have bought into, or uh, um, we have uh, we have learned a lot about the gospel of church, especially when we started out our Christian life and Christian walk. Yeah. In fact, the reason why we're having this conversation right now is because I think that there is this widespread, um, I'm trying to find the right words here, misunderstanding about the kingdom and church. And so I remember when I was a new believer, I actually heard the pastor who I looked up to and who was really my spiritual father at the time, at the church where I got saved and where I served for almost 10 years. I heard him on many occasions, and I would ask myself, why is he saying that? But I would hear him on many occasions say, the church and the kingdom are the same thing. Uh, uh, some talk about gospel of kingdom. What is gospel of kingdom? Gospel of kingdom is the church. The church and the kingdom are one and the same thing. And for the longest time, I actually believed it till I realized that no, that it is different. And then you obviously hear guys like leaders, ministers like Graham Cook, and apostolic leaders like Bill Johnson and others say otherwise, right? Teach that there is a distinct difference between the kingdom and the church. So um, another huge hero of mine, who's Pastor Ashish Raichur from Bangalore, released this amazing book. I forgive me if I'm repeating myself, if I've mentioned this to you before, but that was like a major turning point for me in 2013 when I actually read this book. Now, this is a book that has been released by a pastor of one of the most influential churches in Bangalore, in India, and the title of the book was Kingdom Builders. And the rare side of the rare cover, the backside of the book actually starts off saying, God has not called us to build our own churches or our own ministries. He's called us to build His kingdom. Now that's coming from a pastor, right? So I mean, you can imagine what the whole book was like. I mean, so that just set me off on a journey, and so I while I got saved I came to the Lord in 2004. 2013 was a year where I think God allowed me to rediscover the kingdom all over again in a new way. So I know you have. I really respect you so much. I just love everything you post out there on social media, the videos you put out there. I know you have a lot of wealth of wisdom on the subject. So yeah, I just would love friends and people out there to hear you, man. And yeah, so I'm gonna shut up and please.
Man, firstly, like it's such an honor that I'm even connected to you, because I know you have such a heart for connection. And I think that's the number one thing that the kingdom is. It's connection. And it begins with the connection with the king and then connection with other kings, and I think that's a big deal, man. Like to have secure people you cannot allow the kingdom to flow and flourish like it's supposed to if you're insecure. So this subject has gripped me and completely gripped me, especially in the last 3 years. It's really, really gripped me. So yeah, I mean, there's so much to say. When I got saved, I got radically saved. I went drunk to a church. I'm partying all night, and I'm drunk the next morning. And this lady singing in tongues, and I became sober. And that was my experience. And I remember the first month just crying every night on my bed, having this encounter with God, and I didn't know what was going on. I just knew that I was feeling love that I didn't deserve, and this love was doing something to me, and it was just welcoming me. And I would just weep because I had no words, I had no understanding. I'd been to church my whole life, I'd been to services, I'd stayed in 3-hour Good Friday services, but this was something else. And then that began this journey of me exploring a relationship with this God who personally wanted to hang out with me. He wanted to spend time with me. He wanted to answer my little needs. I would ask him to show me things in the sky. Every night when I'm going to bed, I would leave my curtains open and I would stare out at the sky and I would say, I know you're real. Can you show me something? And so many times he showed me something. There were times where he didn't show me stuff, but there were times where, I feel like sharing this, so I'll just tell you. One night, like, this light just came out of the sky towards my bedroom and went back in. And I jumped out of my bed. I ran to the window and I'm like, that was you. That was you. Can you do it one more time? And I won't ask you again. Childlike faith. It was silly in some ways. And I'm glad that I didn't talk to church people about it because they would have talked me out of that kind of relationship. And he did it again. And that night I couldn't sleep. And now when I'm reading the Bible, it's like this thing is real. I'm not reading a storybook. And so the reason I bring that up is because the kingdom belongs to the kids. Man, I love that Jesus says that John the Baptist is the greatest man to ever be born of a woman, but the least in the kingdom is greater than him. I mean, that is mind-boggling. Like, the least in the kingdom is greater than the greatest man that has come out of a woman's body. And that really gripped me. I'm like, what is this kingdom? And I really think that so many Christians come into God and have a honeymoon phase, and they call it a honeymoon phase. And I've seen this for 12 years, 13 years. I have watched this with my own eyes. People come and they're on fire because they just encountered the kingdom. They're on fire because they just encountered God. But somewhere along the line, they got sold church. Somewhere along the line, they got sold membership. They got sold serving a vision, serving an organization. Somewhere along the line, what began as this unique connection got switched into, but we are the middlemen. And I have watched people light up and then die, and they keep now waiting for that light up again. But when I read the Bible and I see Jesus saying the kingdom of God is such that this guy found this pearl, the pearl of great price. He found this pearl in the land. He sold everything he had to get that pearl. And that kingdom, man, I feel like there was an insurgence coming right now in 2020 of kingdom believing, kingdom preaching, kingdom understanding sons, children of God. And wherever the kingdom is, righteousness, peace, joy, every bit of the manifestations of the Spirit, all of that just follows. Goodness and mercy, all of this just follows the kingdom. And so I have been diving into the subject, and people like Miles Monroe, I love what they've shared about the kingdom, Dr. Miles Monroe. And then obviously we got Wolfgang, and there's a few, and yeah, I could keep going.